like, All right. So I had switched up last week I did what was supposed to be this week, and this week I'm doing what was last week, or the week before. So today's workshop is titled Helping Students Use AI the Right Way, Equipping Students with AI Literacy, Ethics, and Effective Use. And again, it's a 30-minute workshop, and it will help with your overall professional development for the fall of 2025, which is what we look for, right? And just as a reminder, tomorrow we have our 1-hour workshop at 4:30 at the LEAC in room 306 for anybody who's lacking or needing a workshop. I'll send out a reminder today, and then on Friday we have one at 10 and one at 12. So just in case you still need to be able to go. And there's enough space because the room 306 takes 60 people. So right now we have a healthy amount of people on both days. So let's get started. So as it says, it's helping students with AI, and we know that students itself are essentially using a lot of AI, and I think one of the most important things that we've been hitting on for the last few years, especially when it comes to AI and student usage, is the ethical use of AI. More importantly, that they understand how to use it and use it effectively, but also not to affect the academic integrity of their work. And that's one of the most important things, and why it matters, especially as it says, we know it's AI use is widespread. Students use it on a daily basis, but a lot of the times they're just, one of the conferences I went to was a computer scientist, and he had his presentation, and he said, the AI will only give you what you give it. So like garbage in, garbage out. If you don't know what you're talking about, it's going to give you the same amount back. It's not going to give you what you need. And so content experts or subject matter experts are an important component because you know what you're looking for. Students often don't know what they're looking for. So that's one of the more important areas that we have to think about, where we have to help students understand this new tool, but use it in a way that's going to help them and not get them into trouble, especially when it comes to academic integrity. So as it says, it matters specifically because AI use is widespread among students, and as it says, they need proper guidance. They usually have poor guidance when it comes to it. There are some areas, especially when it first came out, especially when ChatGPT came out, fall of 2022, spring of 23, there were school districts and universities trying to ban it. But as it says, the main thing to get out of this is that once you start trying to ban, you're going to actually create or worsen an equity gap. And that's important that students with those resources are going to have that workaround, and others are going to be left behind. And so it's important that we all look at this and say, okay, we have this. How do we use it effectively? And how do we use it in a way that's going to strengthen our students, especially when it comes to the workforce and also in their academic work. As it says, responsible use in AI is now essential for academic integrity and for workforce readiness. And we know that the state of Texas is increasingly asking us to help our students become more workforce ready. And AI is an essential tool for that in the future. So what students actually get wrong, the common misconceptions about AI, it's that it's always correct, and often forgetting that there's the hallucinations, meaning if it doesn't know it, it'll make it up. So as it says, students trust AI outputs without verification, missing errors and hallucinations. So they'll just take it as is, but they don't verify it. Again, we come back from that perspective of our academic background, our subject background, where we're experts in our fields, and so therefore when we're looking for something, we know exactly what we're supposed to get. And I often have this where I will get something and I'm like, well, that's not what I was looking for, and I know that's not true. So then you end up having a conversation with your AI saying that's not exactly what it is, and it'll correct itself, right? It'll say, yeah, you're right, this is wrong. But sometimes students don't have those tools in place, and our job is to help them find those and use those tools correctly. It replaces reading. using AI summaries instead of engaging in primary sources and undermines the learning is one of the things, because students, you often say, well, I don't have to read, I'm just going to get it summarized. Or paraphrasing AI equals original. And of course, we know that that's not true. So as it says, rewording AI content doesn't make it their own thinking or analysis. And remember, we have to actually start thinking about it as, is it a co-author, is it a co-creator? Are we asking it to do something that maybe it is unethical? Are we doing things that are unethical? Not cheating unless detected. And so now we have a lot of AI detectors out there, and so they'll put their work through those AI detectors, hoping that you can get it more humanized in your tone, in the way that you write. And so a lot of the times our students and the public in general will say, you know what, if it doesn't get detected, then it's okay. But as it says, there's ethical violations exist regardless of the detection technology. And I think it's an important thing about when we think about how students are using it, that we start trying to teach them about how to use it and how to, again, use it effectively and ethically. What faculty get wrong, those misconceptions that we need to address ourselves. AI equals cheating. I remember the conversations I had back in 23 with a lot of English faculty who were adamant of not wanting to allow AI usage in their classroom. I, from a political science government background, was saying it's going to be something that we ourselves have to actually, contend with, and it's not something that we should try to hide from, and it's important that we start utilizing it now. And early on, I let my students know about it. I let them know the importance of using it effectively and ethically, understanding how to use it, but also letting people know that they were using it. And that's something that you don't want to take a tool away from a student because they're going to do it, and they're going to do it in a way that's not going to be effective for us. So it eliminates, faculty often say, well, it eliminates critical thinking. When used properly, AI can enhance critical thinking by providing feedback and alternative perspectives. And that, remember, you can train your AI. You can actually create your own GPTs or your own bots. Only English faculty must address it. Well, we know that's not true because they're using it in a variety of ways in all the subject matters disciplines. Wherever you can think of it, they're going to find a way to use it, and use it even in math. I think they try to figure out, and sometimes it'll get it wrong with that. So it says literacy is important. AI literacy is essential across all disciplines, especially because it's important that we understand that we all have a role to play in it. And again, I think the conversation needs started for us, especially as an institution and faculty, when we started talking about it in the spring of 23, about that this is around. And then that was something that, as we moved into OER in the fall of 24, that was something that we said, look, this is a tool, and this is something as you as subject matter expert can do. And it's not the solution for everything, especially when you're creating your own content when it comes to OER, but it actually, again, is that assistant or that tool that can help you say, okay, this is something that I can use. And I think that faculty here are, in my opinion, as I've worked with you all, very comfortable with it nowadays, and wanting to learn more about it, and looking at it as a resource for themselves, but also that their students can utilize. That responsible use, again, we've often said, well, when should it be used and when is it not, right? Brainstorming ideas is important, exploring topics, clarifying some sort of complex concept, getting feedbacks on drafts especially. You can ask it. I know that we have Draft Coach for English uses Draft Coach, but you can also train it for yourself. Like, I have my signature assignment, and I decided to toy around with creating a GPT to say, and it's not done yet, but it's more, in my opinion, more of a draft on mine, which is, can you, if a student submits their work through this, can you tell it what they're lacking in order to meet the elements of that assignment? And haven't done it yet. Probably in the spring I'll try it, but it's just more of like, can I ask them to use it, but to tell them, hey, the direction in which you're going for your assignment isn't the right one, and at this point you need to figure out to add this part of social responsibility or personal responsibility or even critical thinking, add more depth to your argument, things like that they have to do, especially when it comes to the signature assignment that we have. And then where it's prohibited, generating that full draft or the assignment, essentially just creating the assignment for you or writing it for you. Fake citations and references. That's one thing that most people have to verify, because it will create a citation that doesn't even exist, an author that doesn't exist. If it doesn't know it, it can't find it, it will make it up. Taking quizzes or exams with AI is something also that is not allowed. We do have syllabus language when it comes to the institution, but that's more about that it's up to the professor. And I think that you can create your own, or writing how you would want AI to be used in your classroom or within your discipline. This is just a suggestion. AI may support idea generation, clarification, but may not produce all full assignments. And it's something that they can actually do with this. And it says, include the language in your syllabus, discuss it on the first day, provide examples of acceptable and unacceptable AI use. And I believe that the institution is looking to start having that conversation with faculty and others about how to use it. What's the one that has like a stop sign, which is green is okay, yellow is maybe, red is a no-go type of thing. Assignment strategies, especially for faculty, how can you have them use it? Process some artifacts. Require students to submit the drafts, the outlines, the revision histories, showing their thinking process especially. That's one way to combat that usage of AI. Reflections on what AI missed. Have students explain nuances and context and insights that AI failed to capture. And I have one assignment in my course where they're supposed to talk about the Electoral College, and they're supposed to use AI. It has a prompt, but then they're supposed to then tell me what it missed. Like, what are the things that are not there? So they have to have a reflection on that as well. So this is what it produced, this is what I had, this is what I think is missing, and these are a lot more about that. So essentially having that co-partnership with the AI to help them understand that maybe the AI missed some things especially. But again, it depends on the course of what you're trying and what you're trying to achieve with your students. AI critique tasks, where it's to ask students to evaluate AI-generated content, identifying the errors, limitations, or the biases. And we've talked about that before in the last workshop. Design assignments requiring specific expertise, personal experience, or local knowledge AI cannot provide. An economics professor out of Toronto has people do memes. So he has an assignment, and then they're supposed to go out and take pictures or something, and then what they come back do is they write a meme and then explain the meme. But like he says, because you can ask it on to say, how did I feel about this course, or how do I do this, and it's going to produce something, but it's not going to have that personal reflection. And so you have to figure out how to make them do that personal reflection. But this is more of just trying to figure out different ways to help students understand the AI. So this one was at the teaching professor. It's called Transparency in Learning and Teaching. As it says, using TILT to prevent AI misuse. Students misuse AI on most occasions, especially when their expectations are unclear. It improves clarity, reduces cheating, and increases motivation. If they understand why they're doing something, what's the goal of it, and the purpose or process of it, then they'll actually less likely misuse AI. So the three-part structure is the purpose, why the assignment matters, connected to the learning goals, real-world applications or skills, some sort of skill development, right? And I was talking to a professor this morning about that, about the skill. There are some courses that lend themselves more for hands-on and skills or things that you have to do, as opposed to a more of a academic, on the academic side of, say, like an arts and sciences, where you're going to be more like a history or a government, like where I'm on my perspective. Even an English one is a little bit different, right? But if you can do that beyond the skill, or try to do something to get them to understand what their purpose of their assignment is, you're likely going to get them to get that hook in and do it well and be invested in doing the assignment. What students must do: provide a step-by-step instructions with clear expectations for each phase. So that's one thing as a faculty member is important, that we try to do something that will help them understand what's the purpose. Like, what's the purpose? Why am I doing it? What's the goal? And then provide those step-by-step instructions. And then the criteria: how will your work be evaluated? Using that rubric. Examples of it especially is another way. So it declines when you actually use those three concepts or those components. And then why it reduces it, as it says, they don't see the value, or why this could reduce it, is a lot of students often don't see the value in the work or the task that they're doing. And I think this generation tends to not understand the concept of learning, or the joy of it. Like, it's something that there's a lot of like quick response. They want a quick turnaround. Fear of failing is also something why they will likely use it. Anxiety about grades drives a student push to start using AI. The rush to fill that gap: time pressure, confusion, desperation, procrastination. They wait till the very last second to start doing their assignments, and I think we're all guilty of that. They don't understand their expectations, what the expectations for it is especially. So maybe there might be some unclear instructions, and I think that we can use AI to help us create those clear expectations and those instructions for students, and I think that will help figure that out of, like, say, did I meet every element that will say what's the possible question that they may have on something. And then on anything, especially when it comes to reflection, which is use these to redesign the assignment. Like, so what should students think will happen if I misuse it? Like, is there some sort of like a consequence or penalty? Is there something that you can actually do? There's one thing that we're working on, especially for the online teaching certification, but the second part is a grade menu. And it's something that I want to be able to show faculty, and some faculty probably do it, but it's a way of saying, this is the assignment. You can submit it this way, or this way, or you can select a number of assignments, and which ones are the ones that fit the way that you can actually achieve that outcome that you're supposed to get for that particular module or for this one. But they get to choose which ones, and then it's a contract. So at the very beginning, they say, I'm going to do this one, and this one, and this is the outcome at the very end. I've submitted this. And so you need to have, the menu needs to have been filled, and you have actually made that connection to your course to say, okay, now I'm going to do this to achieve this grade or this grade. But it's a lot of faculty across the country are thinking that the choice of selecting the modality of how they want to submit. Do they want to write it? Do they want to do a voice memo? Do they want to do a video? Do they want to do something that will help them actually show their work? And so I think that's also a way to try to engage students in a better way. So what skills should the assignment build? The steps that require that human thinking. Again, we can actually apply that language or that support. Which steps could AI support that safely? What can we do to help students understand that there's a safety net or way in which we can actually get them to use it correctly? And then how that criteria will reward that student for learning. What is the grade at the end? What do they get at the very end of creating or redesign? Once you've redesigned your assignment to help make sure that there is less likely of student misuse of AI, then we'll get them to understand that it's an important aspect of, you've learned something. It's a skill that you can take to the future, right, into it. So guided AI protocol, teaching students that responsible use, prompt carefully, craft clear, specific prompts that guide AI towards those helpful responses. And remember, right nowadays, especially when you think about prompt engineering, which apparently now is a new job that we have, it's writing. And so you literally have to know how to write, know exactly what you want it to do, and do it in a way that's going to be effective, and it's not going to continuously, because we can misuse it, and we often think about the environment and the use and the data centers that it takes to actually have, the use of AI. And I think at the very beginning, back in the spring of 2023, we talked about the fact that just one question to Chat GPT, when you put your question, is one 16-ounce bottle of water. So you're like, and so they're like, you have to craft your prompt, your question, what you want in a very effective way so that you don't keep prompting it and prompting it and prompting it, because it actually requires more usage. And so I think that's one of the things that students will have to learn how to do in a more effective way, because you can continue to ask questions, right? But it's also utilizing the energy that we're expending on it. Verify the accuracy, check AI outputs against reliable sources and course materials, how we can get them to use it correctly. Revise with knowledge, integrate personal understanding. Again, how do we get them to start thinking on their own, that critical thinking aspect, and course concepts into AI-generated content, and then reflect on those gaps. Identify what AI missed or misunderstood. And then protecting student data, as always. Warn against any uploading private information. Remember, it's a learning machine, so it learns and it puts out into the internet unless you can provide guardrails, especially. Tell them, hey, know that whatever you put in there is going to be used to learn, and other AIs are going to use it as well. So you got to be very careful with what you put in there. So they must be cautioned to not use upload personal data, student records, or any confidential information to AI. If you do it, redact that information. That's also important. FERPA applies to all AI systems, as it says. Federal privacy laws protect student educational records, including data shared with AI platforms. I know that if you are a Google school, like if you, what they'll do is that they will protect all of the institution's information. So even if you're using, say, Gemini, which is the AI tool for Google, a lot of school districts will use it, because any policy or anything that's created or procedures within the institution gets housed inside that institution. Essentially, it's like an intranet, so it doesn't get used put out to the outside world. It's a way to protect it, and you can ask. Like, let's just say you would use Copilot. You could do the same if it's an institution that can be protected as well. Any institutional information. And this is just an example of a sample assignment language, clear AI policy for students. They may be used, again, as we mentioned, be used to support idea generation and clarification, not be used to produce full assignments or substantial portions of your work. And it must be disclosed, again, with an AI statement. The disclosures required. I always make my students disclose whether they use it or not, and through citations. And then final work must reflect those personal analysis and examples. The takeaways is important for us. So AI literacy equals workforce readiness, prepare students to use AI responsibly, and equips them for the modern professional environment. One of the things that we've talked about repeatedly is where faculty or teachers or educators were often saying, well, they're trying to replace me. And the thing is that AI cannot replace a teacher, but you can be replaced by a person who knows how to use AI. So the more you understand it, the more you're able to use it and to be effective with it, the more likely you're going to hone that skill that will make you more effective in any job, whether that's an educator or anyone in the outside in that private workforce. A clear structure plus TIL essentially reduces misuse, and responsible AI use actually equals academic integrity. Teaching ethical AI practices maintains especially academic standards while embracing innovation. And that's important, because I think that's a part that we need to help our students understand this. And as an institution, we are moving more and more towards getting our students to understand it, our staff, as well as our faculty. And then these are just some of the places where you can learn a little bit more about AI and the references used especially. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? We're good? I tried to keep it under, yes.
Just one question. You talked about training your own AI.
Uh-huh.
Where are you doing that?
Oh, when you go into, like I use ChatGPT or I use Gemini. And so what I've done is where you can create your own one. Like right now, I have it. I didn't create it, but it's called Plant Guy. Ms. Carmona ITC was testing it, and the Plant Guy doesn't like vegetables. So anytime you mention a vegetable, it actually tells you that vegetables are bad and don't exist. So if you said anything, so you can tell it what you're trying to do. Another one, I think I've mentioned it before. I used, there's a website called poe.com, P-O-E, and I could show it to you. Just really quick because it actually will, but if you do this, and these are all GPTs, and I can create this one with mine because it's, I was one, and I did one for my class. So it is TextPal, and what I could do is ask it anything. So it's an old one because I used it in the summer just to try it out. But if you, just to show you, and you can, right here it'll tell you to create, but you can also explore, and people can monetize it. You can make it private. You can just say, give it to your students. But these are all bots that have been created out in the world. Mine is not out in the world. His name is Poe. But if I would say when, let's just say, I asked it, when's the next assignment? And like it says on this one, and I'll show you what I did to edit it. And these are all the information I gave it. So I said, you're friendly. You're a friendly government 2306 course assistant at Laredo College, and you help Texas government concepts, course campus navigation assignments, and connecting with campus resources. So my behavior, you can pick whichever one you wanted. I picked ChatGPT 4.0, which is open AI, but you can pick Gemini, you can pick whichever you want. And then as it tells you, what do you want it to do? You are TextPal, a supportive, knowledgeable chatbot for students in Government 2306, Texas Government at Laredo College. Your purpose is to help students understand their assignments and course content, but not provide direct answers to quizzes, tests, or grades. And then I uploaded my textbook, the chapters, some of the quizzes that I have. And again, I shared this with my students. And then the greeting message is howdy, and then it goes on, and I put as much information as I could, and then it could be published. You can monetize it. I don't. And I can make whatever else I needed to do. I published it, but then I gave the link to my students and I posted it on Canvas. And then I told them that for them to use it if they wanted to. And so you could ask, you know, and this one was like, when is, and it's going to be late, but when is the signature assignment due or something like that. And so it's internal, because it has my information, but it would tell me, and it was July 16th, right? So it's going back to what it knew. And then if you notice at the very end, it says, this is an important assignment because it measures key competency outcomes like communication, critical thinking, personal and social responsibility. Make sure you review the course objectives and use your Welcome to Texas textbook. And then it would say, if you need help brainstorming or organizing your essay, I recommend reaching out to Class Learning Center. It's a little plug. And it would take you straight to that. And then it'll prompt you, right? So it says, what are the specific competency measures? But you can then the student can ask it about it itself. You could also say, what is the assignment about, or something like that, right? And then it could tell you, it's prison reform, and it will tell you about it, what you're supposed to do, evaluate the ethical, social, and financial implications of the proposed bill, the key details, what they needed to do, how they needed to do it, and then it says, to prepare, I recommend, and it would tell it that. So I created it, and then I gave it to them, and then I let them know that they could use it. but also if they were using it to let me know and use it as part of their citation. You can also ask students to give you the prompts, like whatever they're asking it. That's another thing that faculty in other conferences that I've gone to, and I've gone to their presentations, have recommended that they do. They tell their students, okay, you used it, tell me what you asked it, and you submit that as part of your overall work.
One more question to that. When students are asking questions to that, is it getting trained as well?
Yeah. It's still constantly getting trained. And then I learned about this website, Poe, from a faculty member at Houston Community College. She was an English professor, and she taught the co-rec course. So it was the English 1301, and then it had the co-requisite, which was essentially like the developmental. So she created different chatbots, essentially, for each area of her assignment, and they were doing like the process of writing an essay and how to do it. So first part, second part, and that one. And so what she said, it would help because, and then she would go back and see what they did that semester, what they asked it, put that into for the next semester, because then it was being trained to say, hey, these are the questions they're still asking. Remember to do this part, and maybe I need to add that. But it helped them answer questions that she couldn't answer at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like she said, it helped me reduce the number of emails that I would get about what did you mean you want on this one, or how did you want me to do this assignment? And so that's what she learned about this one, and she started trying to do it this way. And one of the things she said, it reduced the frequently asked questions from students constantly.
This is very good, actually.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And like I said, I tried it. Students, I did a pre and post survey, which is, have you ever used one? And then afterwards, they were comfortable using it. Some were kind of hesitant at the beginning because there was more of a gotcha. Are you gonna? Because I even put quizzes in there, but it was to prompt them to keep going back to their textbook. So it was a constant prompting. Okay, you can go over here to find this, and you're asking this, but what about this? So it's a constant way of just keeping them going back to review the information and the material. That was a way to do it. So I have to go back and reteach it a little bit, but I helped. It helped, and that I did it summer 2, and it did reduce the number of questions from that summer 1 to summer 2. I noticed the difference. Yes. All right, thanks guys.